By the way, I wanted to start this video by saying one thing. Joy Barton's French accent is tragic. How you doing? So this is a different video. I just kind of want to talk about it because I kind of can't not talk about it. You know me, on this channel we talk about things going on in football, and this is something which I think is really dangerous, and if I don't talk about it, then I think I'm doing something wrong here, because you know, I talk about things that are sometimes serious, sometimes it's completely stupid. And this is something that I think that if I don't talk about, I'm doing me and well, really most people a disservice. I think if you stay quiet in a situation, then I think that you are actually causing more damage, because people need to speak out about this nonsense. Okay. Joy Barton. Now, I don't want to talk about him too much. I kind of want to do some of it, but also the kind of bigger picture, because this is more than just Joy Barton. Main key aspect to talk about here is the fact that this is all nonsense. This is all complete. This is all just to promote his podcast. That's why he's doing this. It's a weird marketing strategy. I know it's strange, but he's just doing this to promote his podcast. Okay, and to get some eyes on him, and then he kind of garners the kind of Matt Letizia kind of fans, that echo chamber, and drag them over to his side, thinking, you know what, I think what he's trying to say is, no, like, that's what he's trying to do here. So that's a key thing. I know what he's doing. However, I do feel like this is much bigger than just him. Also, I shouldn't do this because I feel bad, but it's Christmas and it's my company, so I guess I want to get it out there. For Christmas, I'll do 20% off for the next 3-4 days at my company, Misogyny.co.uk, footprints across the world, link down below, top of the description. So what's been said, if you have not been on social media the last 2 days, basically Joy Barton has gone off completely off the rails on social media, predominantly Twitter, going into basically women don't belong in football, or high-end football. He's gone over 3 different main talking points. Number 1 being women being in football, and that they simply just don't belong at that level. And number 2 being basically box ticking, and that women and other people, because this is bigger than just women, saying that people are just filling quarters and they're becoming a box ticker, so that production companies, BT Sport, BBC, whoever, that they are simply getting people on their shows, their channels, just to look inclusive and to represent every single walk of life, and that's the only reason. And they're not there on merit, okay? And that's basically what he's trying to say, that women are not there because they deserve to be there, but over then they're just simply there to fill a quota, which is a dangerous stance to have. And also number 3, the word eunuch, apparently if you're a man and you don't believe that what he's saying is very damaging and very dangerous, then you are a eunuch. Whatever eunuch is, I think I've heard it 3 times on Skyrim my entire life, and that's it. But I've heard it at least 20 in the last 24 hours. Apparently, I have no penis. Just want to tell you now, apparently, if you don't think that it's a bit dangerous to say that women don't belong at the top level of English sport to talk about it at all, then you must have no balls. Apparently, that's what he's trying to say. So, I'm glad that we've now got that. And maybe you too. Tell me down below. Do you have balls? But tell me down below. Apparently you don't, if you think similar to me. Let's go into women's football. So, glasses here. This is kind of what his main line of thought is. And he talked a lot, so it's kind of hard to really pinpoint one specific thing because there's tons of them. But the main key underlying factor of his thought process is that women are overkill and are underqualified to be in the men's space, men's punditry, men's commentary. They are not qualified. They don't belong there. Because simply they've never played the men's game at a high level, or just a men's game in general. Now, for me, this is a very slippery slope, because really you can do this for anything. Because you could say, well, Miss Joy Barton, you've never played in Champions League, right? You never have. So, do you have the right to talk about Champions League football? Do you? Because you've never played there, so why would you have any say in it? Because you've never played that level. You could go as far as below as you want, as basic as you want. If you're a League 2 footballer, Akin Fenwell, for example, right? He's a well-known, kind of EFL footballer, League 1, League 2. Does he have no right to talk about Premier League football because he's never played that level? I mean, it's men's football, right? You can say, oh, it's men's football, so different level. And I agree that men's football is definitely at a different physicality to women's football. That's a science. We can all agree. All women, they all agree saying that, yeah, women's football is not the same as men's football. It's a different sport in that regard because it's at a different physicality. That's something that no one's really disagreeing to, as far as I'm aware. So That's not really the problem here. But what about commentators that haven't played men's football, like the vast majority of commentators do? Or even those that are male commentators that have played at a high level, aka like Michael Owen, he's awful at it. Like, watch, please, I beg, try to actually, like, watch a game with Michael Owen commentating. It's awful, but he's a Ballon d'Or winner. So, you know, like, I guess it's outliers, you may say. But I just think that saying, if you've not played at men's level, top level, you can't talk about it. And that can go as low down and basic as, if you're a male fan and you're a female fan and you both have an opinion on your football team, because the male fan said it, it's therefore more valid because he's a man, because he must know more, because he's a guy, right? And that's as basic as that thought process is for many people. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly Joe Barton's thought process, but because of what he said in the last 24 hours, people will come out of the woodwork saying, yeah, I hate this woke nonsense. I hate all these walkies ruining my game. Wasn't football so good back in the 80s when people were dying because of football? You know, ultras and casuals going up and down in trains, actually, you know, death and violence being caused at football. But that was the good old days because there was less women there, because women don't belong in football. It's a men's game. Yes, give me a calling. Like, look, right, I've been raised, go to games, okay? Season ticket holder. I've done all away games. I've lived that lifestyle for 5-6 years. I've met the casuals. I've met just that kind of away day culture, being on buses, drinking with the lads. I'm part of that, right? Oh, I was anyway, you know, when I was 18, 19, 20, right? As most people do. That's fine to be part of that culture because you feel like a belonging, right? That's why people love it. That's why people are obsessed of that kind of away day casual culture, because you're part of something. You know, some people, especially young lads, for my example, growing up in England, they feel a bit disconnected to the world sometimes. That in high school or college, you're being told, you must get a job, you must go do this, you must go do that, and sometimes they just don't know. They don't know what to do, and there's a lot of pressure with that, so they want to feel like they're belonging to something, because in their education, which is the main part of their life, they're being told that they're a screw-up. They're being told that they don't know what they're doing. They're being told that they're stupid. So what do you want them to do? And this is quite deep, this, but that's why I kind of want to do a video here like this with my face, because this is a serious talking point, that men feel like football is all they have, because in their education, because I'm not saying this as all, but a good majority of people that are of this thought process that is in the casual culture aren't typically the smartest men. Okay, they may be raised in a different way, raised in a rough upbringing, or they haven't really been given the best walk of life by their parents, and that they simply are trying to scrape some sense of belonging to anything they can get. And football is the most easiest way to do so, and it's tribal, and that's why we love football, because it is so tribal. So then, when they have this belonging of football, and this is what football is like, they feel so connected and attached to it emotionally, they can't really imagine a woman being in it that is outside of their world almost, that they can't really be involved in this because they don't can get with the lads and drink the beers and lads, and that's just one aspect of it, but that is a very, very loud minority, and in a situation like this, they all come out the woodwork. And that's a fact of the matter. Sorry that got a bit deep there, but I just want to get one post that is done in Joe Barton, because I think that this is really underlying why he's saying this, because it's really clear to see for everyone involved. So this is a tweet that he said, saying, I don't usually do this, but I will open up debate further about the need to remove women commentators and pundits from the men's game until such time that they improve and get up to speed. The current standard of women working in men's game is really, really poor right across the board. The experience of watching men's football and the journalistic standards of men's football have both been hugely compromised because of this tokenism. The woke agendas need to diversify and find equality is a valid observation, but it must not come at a cost of professional standards. Highly qualified men cannot get a job on TV because underqualified women fill these quarters. This is wrong. And there you have it. Boom, there you go. That last line, that last sentence underlies the entire reason why he's doing this. Him or his friends that want to get a job at any production, any BBC, whatever else, being a pundit, being a journalist, commentator, whatever it is, and that they haven't got a job because a woman has it. And he's saying, that must be the reason. Not me. I can't be the reason why I didn't get this job. I just may not have got it because they just didn't want me to have the job because I wasn't good enough. It can't be me. This woman has it. I know more about football than her because she's a woman, clearly. So that must be the thought process. So that is why she's there. Because why else would she be there? She can't know more football than me because she's a woman. So that's the entire reason why. By the way, someone's gonna clip that and like put it out of context after the video. But that genuinely is why he's doing this. That him or his friends have not got a job, but a woman has, and they're gonna just throw their toys onto a pram and say that's why the woman is the reason why. Blame the woman. The term box ticker is something that you hear quite a lot, and I mean, I can't imagine what that feels like, because it feels like your entire credibility is just being completely, criticized, and a sort of imposter syndrome put on you, saying, do you really belong here? Are you only here because you're X, Y, and Z? And I can't even imagine feeling like that, because I know some of these people, and they are really smart. They're really hardworking, and they know quite a lot. So I find it crazy, and that just shows that he's just throwing his toys at the pram. And I got one example of this, right? He said on of course, he went on Piers Morgan. Of course, he went on Piers Morgan. Okay, of course, Piers drops on this. So Piers Morgan got him on, and he said something that I found really funny, right? And this got picked up online, saying that he gave an example of a female commentator saying, sure, she doesn't belong here, because she said that Endo for Liverpool, he scored a goal, and said that, she said that he put his laces through it. But any men that played the game would say that he side-footed it, so she must not know what she's on about. But long behold, she didn't even say that. Play the clip.
Well, I heard the comments from the Liverpool Fulham game about, the Endo goal. The Japanese boy Endo scores. And the commentator was female, co-com's female, and she talks about Endo scores with his laces. Now, anyone who watched that, who had any knowledge of football, seen that Endo scored with the side of his foot. But no one, because it was female co-coms and female commentator, no one said, hang on a minute, that didn't happen. Then we have to correct those mistakes.
So Joey, if you're going to quote people and use examples, I'm sure you have many examples, right? Because there's so many women that's filling quarters and filling tick boxes. You must get some pretty good concrete examples. And the one that you've given here is not even true. So that's a good start. And one more thing as well. He put out a tweet, right? And I don't want to put too much attention onto him because it is dangerous, but it has to be said. He did this video, right? Or put a video of some Man City, just some laughs before the game, I believe in the Champions League, and just saying, score predictions, the last game was this score, what do you think the score would be, and it'd be a good game tonight. Simple, right?
At the Etihad for tonight's Champions League group stage game against Leipzig. Now, when we were over in Leipzig at the beginning of this campaign, we beat them 3-1, so it is already 3-1 on aggregate. And
I watched the video. She didn't say anything wrong. Not like she mispronounced her name or got the incorrect scoreline. She was just, I think an attractive lass in a hat. It's cold in Manchester. Just saying, what's the score going to be? And he's like there. He looks at it thinking, that's what's wrong with football. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't say anything wrong. And even if she did, who cares? A lot of people do it. Christ, Burnley still gets called Barnsley on BBC every other day. Like, to this day, Burnley still gets called the Tykes or gets called Barnsley. That happens so common on Sky Sports BBC. I'm sure they're men that makes it. Are they all wrong too? Are they all not qualified? Or is it because they're men and not women? Because in this video, she does nothing wrong, and he says, what was it? I mean, look at this nonsense. You give them an inch, and these influencers nonsense. Okay, if I did it, if I was at Man City's ground, if I was a City fan, and I just said, yo, we're here at the Etihad, City v Leipzig, give us your score predictions down below, and, up the City, whatever else, would you care? Would you be like, oh, he doesn't belong there? Do I have to be like Sergio Aguero to go on an Instagram to say, what's your score prediction? Because I'm clearly not qualified enough in any other regard, so do I have to be Sergio Aguero to talk about it? Like, this is the issue. Like, it's such a dumb mindset to have, and that's why it's dangerous. Because look, right, and people laugh because it's like Vizeh bingo. I know that's a thing. Vizeh bingo. Give me your score cards down below. But look, I've got 2 daughters. I've got 2 kids, right? And I'm a Burnley fan. I dream of the day of taking him to Burnley. I dream of the day of going to Turf Moor, taking him to the football, taking him to the footy, and I cannot wait for the day that, when they're 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever age that we think is best for them to really understand and actually enjoy it. I can't wait to go to the football with them, and I can't wait for them to hopefully be interested in football, because there's no guarantees. Even if you're a boy or a girl, doesn't really matter. Like, they just may not care about football. They may want other interests. That's fine, right? Hopefully they do like Burnley or do like football, because that's what I enjoy. So that's something that I look forward to hopefully having. If not, then that's fine. But, I want to take them to the football. I want them to play football. I would love to go watch them play football in under 10s, under 8s. I want to see them grow up and enjoy the sport that I love so much. And I'm sure Joey Barton, as he has daughters, feels the same way. But the issue is that this is what you're saying, Joey, that you start this conversation of women don't belong in a top level of football. But to a lot of men, that branches out into a lot of different aspects to the most basic level of women don't belong there in the first place. And if you, as you're a father, like me, when I take my daughters to the football, or they start playing football against other boys, are people going to say that they don't belong there because, they're a girl, they're playing football, they aren't strong enough, they aren't this, they aren't that, they don't belong there? Because, people try to gatekeep sport. This is a common thing, and especially football with women. So that is there's a misogyny that is deep-rooted in football from the dawn of time, and that will never leave. Unfortunately, it'll never leave. And this is why I find it crazy that people use this and kind of also lump women in football with like politics, and they're like, this is woke, wokeism is ruining my sport. I want to go to the game, no politics, I want to get some beers, I don't want any of this nonsense. They go on Twitter and they're like, a Premier League tweet saying, we're proud to support Stonewall's Rainbow Letters campaign. Football is for everyone, which is why it's so important to speak out against discrimination and in support of the LGBTQ plus community. And they're going to look at that and say, politics and football, I can't believe it. People lump it in. People lump in women in sport and women in punditry, and they also lump that with politics, with rainbow laces or even Black Lives Matter, and think that's the same thing. It's like, there's all this nonsense in my sport because it's all about gatekeeping about what they think it should be. I just hope that in 10 or 15 years time that my daughters and I can go to the football and have no concerns, have no people kind of looking down on them because they have this sense of imposter syndrome. I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope that people are just a bit more understanding or a bit more open to different walks of life in terms of this woman or literally anything. And like, you can go as deep as you really want. And the thing is with Joey is that he's not a dumb person. You may laugh, but Joey Barton's actually quite articulate with how he speaks. I've seen him do speeches at, I believe, Oxford Uni, doing full-blown speeches there. He's not a dumb person, Joey Barton. He's actually not a dumb person. That's why this is kind of dangerous, because he will say these ideas, but articulate it in a way that people will listen to it and thinking, you know what, I think what he's trying to say, I think, he may have a point there. And then he kind of, resides in this echo chamber where people will be like, he may have a point here, and they will agree with him a lot more, and then it kind of fuels, for me, much more dangerous conversations. And what I must say as well is that I'm not saying that Joey Barton should be banned, or should be, because I think freedom of speech is very important, right? And this should be allowed to kind of go out in its own way, where basically he will be kind of just laughed off with some of the ideas that he's saying, and that he would just kind of reside in his own kind of echo chamber online. Similar to like a Matt Letizia, who's gone and kind of a bit mental in the last year or so. He's kind of been kind of laughed off to the side. He's still there, he's still tweeting, but people just don't take him seriously, because that's kind of what happens. And you shouldn't shut him down in terms of like banning him, just kind of just laugh him off, and then they go to the side and they go and they stay in a little echo chamber, and that's where they stay at. And that's what is like going to happen here. He's going to go and make a podcast, he's going to go and stick with his side of what he's trying to put out there, and people will agree that is just what's going to happen. Some people will, and they'll be like, no one's saying this, but I'm happy that you're saying it because you speak on behalf of people who are tired of blah blah. And that's what's going to happen, and he's going to make a killing from it because people are really passionate about that. Yeah, and that you can go, that could be a conversation for another day. But yeah, I just want to say, to end this off, shout out to some female content creators that I know that I think are really good, really smart, and really good at their job. And I feel bad for them quite a lot, actually. And I feel bad for them at times because it's a non-stop battle of kind of people judging you and questioning your intelligence and questioning, just you as a woman. If you make one mistake, it's all about, but she's a woman, and what would she know? But if I make a mistake, I make tons of mistakes. I mispronounce words all the time. I get score lines wrong. I get some facts wrong. No one's saying that, because I'm a man, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, because that's not gonna happen. But if I'm a woman saying that, if I make a mistake, it'd be like, this is why women just should stick to like whatever because you just don't know football, and that's what they go through. So shout out to some great creators that I know. Neve, fantastic. Stumpeg, fantastic football content creator. I respect her massively, and I think that she's fantastic. I think that she's great. Beth T from the United Stand as well. I like her stuff. I think she's class. And in the FIFA scene, Leah Revell as well. Again, she knows her stuff. She's smart. I think she's sound, honestly. And before I get people saying, she ain't gonna shag you, mate, I'm a happily married man. I don't care. So don't worry about it. One little thing that I probably should add in here, because I think that while I'm on this topic, I should probably add it in. That one key aspect, especially with online social media, of how people see women or women in football is it's a problem with these kind of OnlyFans girls that is now started to really start plaguing these communities. And the main key one I could all probably name, I don't want to say her name, but you know who she is. I've talked to her. She's a normal lass, okay, but she's playing the game. She knows what the scene is. She knows what the football world is and how men are very much attracted and they gravitate towards women because there's a lack of them in the space compared to men. So they look very different, right? And people like different, and people want to be a part of something that's different, right? And women take advantage of this. A lot of women do, and it's going to be growing even more with people becoming more successful and making money off their OnlyFans and using football communities online to really just make a killing. And they do. Some of them, I don't know all of them. I think I only know two that I've actually spoken to before. They're not bad people. They're smart, really. They're smart and they're business savvy. I think they're seeing football as a way just to make some money. I think they actually are fans of the clubs that they are, doing their content around. However, they've sought an opportunity and they've took it. And I guess if you're a woman and you can make X amount of money, a lot of money by the way, tens of thousands, just doing OnlyFans, I guess for some it's worth it. I mean, I wouldn't agree personally. I wouldn't want that. I don't agree with it, but it's their life and they can do whatever they want. That's the only thing I'll say is that people like that in the OnlyFans spaces in football communities, that you see a lot of it online because they just get so much more attention, sadly, because that's just what it's like. I think that does really play a factor of how people see women in sport and in football, and that people to see them as just a pure sex object and they don't take them seriously, and that kind of filters down and drops down to the rest of the community, and I think that's really dangerous and it just sucks. That's how I see it. I think that is really bad. I think it's really damaging. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this entire situation. Tell me yours down below. Sorry that this is a very different type of video, but yeah, just felt like talking about it. So I'll see you next time.